In today's episode, I'm going to downsize a 2XL t-shirt to a size large. So save this tutorial for whenever you want to make a big t-shirt fit you smaller. Hey beautiful people, I'm Gabby and this is Sew Quaint. On this channel, I share sewing tips and tutorials, so if that sounds like your vibe, you should consider subscribing. To do this, you need the following items: a pair of scissors, a tape measure, tailor's chalk, pins, a t-shirt, and a sewing machine. Today, I'm using the Singer 4423 heavy duty sewing machine. And for 10% off on singer.com, you can use my code SewQuaint10. First, you want to take your t-shirt, turn it inside out, and lay it on a flat surface. Use your tape measure to measure from one side to the next. On my t-shirt, I got 25 3/4. Multiply this measurement by 2. That gives me a measurement of 51.5. At this point, you want to measure around the widest part of your chest. I measured and got 39.5. To this measurement, you want to add 4 inches if you want your t-shirt to still be roomy. But if you want to get a close fit, then you can add only 2 inches. I want this t-shirt to be roomy when I'm done, so I'm only adding 4 inches. In that case, I'm working with 43.5. So now what you're gonna do is take this measurement and subtract it from this measurement that you got for the t-shirt. That gives me 8 inches. Now you're going to take this measurement and you're going to divide it by 2. That's a lot of math, right? Welcome to the world of sewing. The greatest thing is that once you get these measurements right, you will have an accurate fit for your t-shirt. Dividing this by 2 gives me a measurement of 4. I'm going to be distributing this on both sides of the t-shirt. Remove the sleeves from the t-shirt using your scissors. If you would like to, you can also use a seam ripper. On the sleeves, you want to cut along this seam as well. That way, you can open your sleeves like this. Cut away the excess that's on this side of your sleeve. Match the hems of your sleeve to make sure that they are the same size. If you notice that one of them is bigger than the other, you can take your scissors and trim away the excess. The final thing you're going to do to prepare these sleeves is to fold them back in half like this, and then you're going to take the top edge right here and put a notch into the fold. This will help you to be able to identify the center of the sleeves. On your t-shirts, you're going to use a tailor's chalk and a tape measure to measure and mark the excess from the outer edge of your t-shirts. Since my excess is 4 inches, I'm going to be dividing that by 2 because my t-shirt is folded, so it has 2 layers. So if I mark 2 inches from the edge, that's going to be a total of 4. And if I do the same thing on the other side, that's also going to be 4, and 4 and 4 makes 8, which is the excess that we need to remove from this t-shirt. Use your scissors to cut a 1/2 inch away from the outside of this line, and this is going to ensure that you have a 1/2 inch allowance to sew with. The great thing is that this line that you have drawn will be your guide for sewing. So when it comes time to go to the sewing machine, you won't be confused as to where to stitch. At the folds of the shoulder, up here, you want to cut a notch like this. Open the t-shirt flat and match the notches on the shoulders of the t-shirt to the notches on the sleeves of the t-shirt. You want to make sure that your sleeve and your t-shirt are right sides together. Pin from the center all the way out to the ends of the t-shirt. If you find that there is excess sleeve or excess fabric on the side here, don't worry about that. You can actually cut that off later. It's gonna be looking like this. Now I'm gonna do the same thing on the other sleeve. Make sure that you are putting the back of the sleeve in alignment with the back of your t-shirt. So it really does help if before you cut your sleeves off, you make a mark on it using your tailor's chalk to identify that this is the back and this is the front. That way you will end up with the proper alignment when you are putting your sleeves together with your shirt like this. Now you're going to take this to your sewing machine and stitch from one end to the next with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. And guys, it's not advised to stitch over your pins. It's best to take them out as you sew. But what you see me doing here is skipping over them as I get to them rather than stitching on top of them. So my sleeves are reattached and they're looking very neat. At this point, if you have an overlocker, you can use that to finish the raw edges of this. However, t-shirt fabrics don't tend to fray, and as a result, if you want to just leave it raw, you can do that. There is also an overcast stitch on your regular sewing machine that you can use in order to finish this. But I'm just going to leave mine raw because I want to keep this relatable for you guys. But the next step is that you're going to take your t-shirt and fold it like this, right sides together. Match the armhole seams. So the armhole at the back goes with the armhole at the front. And if you have any excess fabric like I have here, you can go ahead and trim this away. And you want to put a pin right here to hold those two seams together. You also want to make sure that the hem matches up at the ends of your sleeve. And you want to go all the way down to the end of your shirt and make sure that the back hem and the front hem are in alignment as well. If you want to go even further, you can add pins along this space right here, but I am just gonna leave mine like this. I am just gonna put one pin in the center. Go ahead and find the original line that you drew right there because that's where you're going to be sewing. I'm just going to repeat these steps on the other side of the shirt. Starting at the hem, I'm just going to match those together, put a pin into it. Then I'm going to go all the way up to the sleeves, match those, put a pin into that as well. And then I'm going to match the armhole. I'm also gonna go to the center of this side seam right here and find the line that I drew earlier. But that is on this side of the fabric. So just gonna bring that together, put my pin right here, and I'm gonna bring my pins over here as well because I wanna keep everything on one side. Next, you're going to take your t-shirt to the sewing machine again, and you're going to sew along the line that you drew, going all the way up to the sleeves. Do the same thing over here. And in case you're wondering why we didn't just stitch a straight line from the hem to the sleeve to take this shirt in, it's because if you do that, you're going to end up with a totally different fit, and the sleeves are not going to be proportionate to the rest of the body of the shirt. So that's why we took the sleeves off and put them back on, and now we're gonna stitch the sides of the shirts because I know some of you will have that question in mind. Just like with the sleeves, you can finish these raw edges with an overlocker if you had one, like I said. You can also trim away the excess using your scissors. I'm just gonna leave mine like this. But the final step, if you want to take it further, is to turn your allowance, the excess allowance that you have right here, towards one side of your t-shirt and top stitch. The same thing goes for the hem. What this will do is make your shirt look neater. So if the hem flips up by mistake, you won't have this part showing right here. Instead, you will have something that looks a lot more seamless. See, this is looking a lot neater than if I did not fold and stitch it. At this arm area, you want to trim away the excess fabric or use your overlocker to finish it. What that will do is give you a smoother curve as to if you were to leave all of this excess. So now I'm just gonna turn my t-shirt inside out to see what it's looking like. Boom. So if you look, you'll notice that there is a smooth curve here at the armhole rather than there being this gather. If you turn your shirt out with a bunch of excess right there without trimming it away like I just suggested, you will notice the difference. Now I'm gonna have my subject try this t-shirt on to see how it fits. For more clothing alteration tutorials, watch this playlist. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.